So hello and good evening everyone. After a long time, uh, I think 2 or 3 days pause. 3 days pause or 2 days pause. Okay, so what we was discussing in the last class, we was discussing about this year's budget. Good evening, Yogesh, Venkat, Nitin, Prachi. Sir, what will be the strategy to cover the syllabus given the new update? Given the new updates on the notification. Not new update on notification means you should see, you should be on war footing right now. Anytime they will give the notification, don't wait for the notification. You should carry on your preparation, right? Whatever you are doing, once the notification will be out, I will crave out 45 days or 50 days strategy for you. Right now, whatever you are doing, do it as it is, right? For example, first barrier, to clear the first barrier, the stage one. So for that stage one, quant, English, whatever you are doing, do it, right? This part means finance, economy, that part just left to me, right? I'll take care of it. I will take care of that part. I will take care of that part means what I am going to teach you, what I am going to provide you, you have to follow that thing. That's it. That is going to be more than sufficient for you. And how to handle that part once the notification will be out. Suppose that they are going to give you 45 days, right? So they are going to give you 45 days. So I will make a 45 days strategy for you, right? And while making a strategy, I am very kind of realistic person, right? Because most of the time what happened, everyone, phase 1 in April, phase 2 in May. So one phase 1 second week. Okay, stop, Yogesh. Okay, fine. Okay, April. Okay. Yogesh, I have seen your question. I will answer. Actually, I was little bit busy today because of some pending work since last 2 3 days. So I was not able to answer the query. As well as I'm looking forward to have a Zoom session very soon. And Zoom session, I will take up all these things in the Zoom session. Okay, and I will answer your query also. Don't worry. See, the strategy, one way of doing the preparation is what, like everybody is waiting for the notification, right? And all of you who are waiting for the notification, once the notification will out, for example, notification is going to out say 20th of Feb, right? Suppose that they are going to out the notification on 20th of Feb. On that day, once the notification will be out, each and everybody will be like pumped up, right? Now I'm going to be in this mode. I will prepare for 8 to 10 hours on daily basis, right? People are going to make such kind of the plan, right? 8 to 10 hours, I will do this thing from 28th of February till an exam. You are going to make a 8 to 10 hours strategy, right? After 7 to 10 days, you will be get exhausted, right? Because you was not doing that amount of work, and all of a sudden you have put that 8 to 10 hours work on your head, and you are not habitual of that thing, and you are going to lose the momentum. Then again, after 4 or 5 days or 1 week, again you will be pumped up and you will do that thing. So your preparation is going to be like in fluctuations, right? What I feel that ki rather than going in the fluctuation, it will be always better you should steady and composed, right? So this kind of the momentum is more important. This kind of the momentum is more important. So if you are means waiting for the notification, I will suggest you, whatever you are doing, just do it in the same pace. Try to increase the number of hours or in terms of output. Sometimes what happens, we will give the sufficient time. 6 to 8 hours is more than sufficient, right? But what about the output? Output, how much output you are able to give, right? So if anyone who is still giving 6 to 8 hours and still thinking ki I'll give 8 to 10 hours, not required. 6 to 8 hours is more than sufficient. What you have to do, you have to focus on the output of that part. Okay, how much output you are able to give. Okay, so output you have to increase, more efficiently use the time. This is the thing what you have to do, nothing else, right? Nothing else. Once the notification will be out, once the notification will be out, first thing what you have to do is, सबसे पहले तो आपने घबराना नहीं है, ठीक है? Once the notification will be out, anxiety and घबराना जो है ना, that should not be there, right? It's very important. And just hold on your mind, take a deep breath. What is your exact capability, right? My capability is to work for 4 to 5 hours only. Suppose I'm able to do the work 4 to 5 hours, right? So rather than going to increase it 6 to 8 hours or 8 to 10 hours, what you have to do, you have to effectively utilize this 4 to 5 hours in more better manner. Try to get more output. If you are working only for 4 to 5 hours, okay, 4 to 5 hours, try to optimize that 4 to 5 hours in the better way. Then try to increase, right? So it is not how many total number of hours you are with the study, how much output you are able to give. So it is a time to work on the output, and once the notification will be out, then you have to increase the number of hours in the gradual manner, rather than all of a sudden. You should not shift the fifth, directly go to the fifth gear. Notification will be out, try to increase your working hour, studying hour, 40 minutes to 1 hour in next 1 week. So take a week time. It's not like that you have to increase by next day. No, take a week to increase your strength, or take it 8 days, 10 days. In that way you can increase another 2 to 3 hours in 3 to 4 weeks. That is fine. That is fine, right? So efficiently usage of the time is more important rather than increasing overall the time. Okay, so this is what I just want to let you right now. Do whatever you are doing right now. There is no need to change anything at present. Let the notification out, right? Let the notification out. Then accordingly we will make it, like when the government is formed and they will make the 100 days plan, right? For example, when Tatas have taken the ownership, they have set up the target for next 100 days. Similarly, what we will do, once the notification will be out, accordingly we will shift our gears. Right now, just be able to in that position na, you have to maintain the momentum so that you can efficiently change the gear, and it is going to help you. Okay, so this is the phase right now, is to maintain the momentum so that you can efficiently change the gears. For any exam, at least 5 to 6 hours is enough. Yes, 5 to 6 hours is more than. See, people say that ki I'll study 8 to 10 hours, right? I study 8 to 10 hours. That is a myth, right? When I'll say I study 8 to 10 hours means I was with the book with 8 to 10 hours. What is the exact output? Right. So for me, it is always the output. Right. If you are having the output of 2 to 3 hours, that is good. Now the question arises, to get the output of 2 to 3 hours, how much time you are spending. If you're spending 8 to 10 hours, then you are getting the 2 to 3 hours output, it is a problem. If you are spending 4 to 5 hours and you are getting the output of 2.5 hour or 3 hour, that is fine. It's absolutely fine, it is no issues. But if you are having the double ratio, means you are getting the output of 2 hours and you are spending 5 hours, then you have to work on the concentration part. Sometimes people feel that, I will study for next 1 hour. Okay, I will study for next 1 hour or something like that. It's absolutely fine. If you are able to concentrate for just 30 minutes, do it. Concentrate 30 minutes, then take a 5 to 10 minutes break, then come back again, then study. It's absolutely fine. It's nothing like that. No, 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 no. I will study only 1 hour. It's nothing like that. Yes, so from 30 minutes, try to increase to 35, then increase to 40. 40 minutes is optimum. And what I am telling you, 40 minutes is optimum. It's not me, it's psychology is telling. Right? 40 minutes cognitive psychology says that 40 minutes is the best optimum time you can utilize and focus and get the maximum output, right? And it is necessary to take us some sort of break after 40 minutes if you are studying, so that whatever you have studied you can recollect. And one important thing, whatever you have studied today, okay, whatever you have studied today, so if you are going to start tomorrow, the same thing, the first thing is you should revise, go for quick revision whatever you have studied yesterday. So this thing you can add it right now, especially right now because notification is about to come. So if you are studying same thing, so whatever you have studied last day, have a quick revision, then start today's topic. Fine, this is very important. A run, you can reach to admin, contact our team. They will send you the link and you can join the Telegram group also. Okay. Now, let's start what we are doing. So till then, now what we have discussed, about deficits. We have discussed about deficits. Then I have told you about this deficit financing. Two kind of deficit financing. One is monetization of deficit. Other is simple deficit financing, right? That means you are printing the new currencies. Then I told you from where money comes and from where money goes. With this diagram, just give me. Yes. So this was the diagram. Through this diagram, I told you from where money is coming and where money is going, right? And after that, I told you from where government of India is getting the money. From where government of India is getting the money. So what is the single largest source? Now I'm better, Chetan. Saurav, if you're preparing for the both exams, what you have to do, just focus on UPSC exam, right? Because most of the thing is going to be covered there. Means CSET. CSET part is going to help you there, right? I will come to your question at the end of this session. I will come back to your question at the end of this session. Okay. So I was asking single largest source. I was asking what is the single largest source. One question is single largest source. One question is largest source. So largest source is tax. Largest tax source is tax. When I'll say single largest, then it is borrowing. When I'll say single largest source, then it is borrowing. When I will say the largest source of receipt of the government of India, then it will be automatically tax, because largest source means all kind of the taxes will be included there, right? If the tax is mentioned, all the kind of the taxes will be mentioned there, so it will be what? It will be tax. Single largest source is borrowing, right? Maybe question can be like this: which of the following is a single largest non-borrowing receipt? Single largest non-borrowing receipts. So single largest non-borrowing receipts, that means they have excluded what? Borrowings and other liabilities. Then automatically you have to check corporate tax, and other is goods and services tax. So definitely answer will be GST, right? Definitely answer will be GST. If they are going to ask single largest non-debt creating indirect tax, then answer is goods and services tax. Single largest direct tax source, single largest direct tax sources, corporation tax. Maybe here figures are almost same. You can see that figures are almost same, but actually the overall receipts, because they are taking in terms of paisa, these figures are in lakh crores, thousand crores or lakh crores. So overall it is the corporate tax. Single largest, I'll write it here. Okay. Now, before moving ahead, I think all of you have briefly seen the briefly, or maybe somebody have went in the detail of this year's budget, right? So if you have went through there, you have seen that this year the major emphasis on infra, major emphasis is on infrastructure, right? Infrastructure, right? So why infrastructure is a main focus, why government is betting on the infrastructure push, right? So anyone want to answer with example why government want to push on the infrastructure, why government is pushing infrastructure? Especially this year government has pushed the infrastructure, means major focus is around the infrastructure. Anybody want to answer why infrastructure too much push? Means infrastructure is always one of the key element in the budgeting, but this year there is an extraordinary push on infrastructure. Why why there is an extraordinary push on infrastructure? कैपिटल सिक्स इंक्रीज होंगे. ओके. Obviously, infrastructure. If infrastructure is emphasis, then definitely there will be rise in the capital assets. And this year, the extraordinary rise, almost 25% jump. 25% jump in government borrowings. Government is going to borrow almost 25% extra in comparison to last year. So I have mentioned few names here on the screen. You can see that US, Europe, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and China. So once there was a Great Depression, there was a Great Depression of 1929. After Great Depression 1929, under the Keynesian economics, there was a New Deal. And under the New Deal, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, he chalked out a plan of massive infrastructure spending in US. So this decade of 1930 to 1950, there was massive infrastructure development in US. Europe, I'll give you the example of Europe. After World War II, there was a Marshall Plan. Marshall Plan was given by US Foreign Secretary. Means, for example, right now we have a finance foreign minister. So in US they are finance secretary. Antony Blinken is a foreign secretary. So similarly at that time, Marshall was a US Secretary of State, and he announced a massive infrastructure spending related loan to European nations under the Marshall Plan. Right. So under the Marshall Plan from 1945 to 1960s, Europe also went for massive infrastructure spending. Same thing with Japan. Same thing. After Second World War, they also went for massive infrastructure spending. South Korea. South Korea, especially after Korean War in 1960s, after the Korean War, South Korea also emphasis on massive infrastructure spending. Singapore. What Singapore you see today, that was not a Singapore in 1960s. It was their visionary leader. His name was Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew, he was a visionary leader of Singapore, and he also emphasized in 1970s massive infrastructure spending in the Singapore, and he made the Singapore as a modern state. Right. Now about China. His leader Deng Xiaoping. His leader Deng Xiaoping. That's why some Chinese journals and newspaper, when this infrastructure push was forwarded by our Prime Minister, some Chinese media, they called Indian Deng Xiaoping. They called our Prime Minister as an Indian Deng Xiaoping. So what Deng Xiaoping actually did, you know that this term SEZ, SEZ, Special Economic Zone. And it is very interesting, the Special Economic Zone policy, the Special Economic Zone policy make China very special. And this policy was started by China during 1980s. And you know that for this policy, from where they have taken an inspiration, they took the inspiration from two countries, Singapore and India. They took the inspiration from Singapore and India, right? Now you are going to ask me, sir, how India? In 1978 in India, when the Janata Party government came to the power, right? So they have emphasized that our port area, the port area should be on a special development assistance, right? So they have make a plan and they have presented this plan in the parliament, but because Janata Party was not able to survive even for more than 2 years, government fell down. But this model was being very attractive for Deng Xiaoping, and he effectively implemented in the China. So now if you will see the growth story of China, so if it is China, right, if it is China and this is their coastal area of China, this is the coastal area of China. So this coastal area of China have different level of development, whereas the deep mainland China have a different level of what infrastructure and everything. This part is highly developed and there is a huge infrastructure. Mainland China do not have a such kind of the infrastructure, but these areas are having good infrastructure, and it has helped China to accelerate their development. So after going a lot of example, what India found that until unless we are not going to have a kind of massive infrastructure push in our country, it is not possible. But the point is, government is spending the money. Indian government since last two decades, means in last 20 years, government of India have spent massive amount of money. It is around $70 billion, more than $70 billion. Indian government has spent on the infrastructure, right? But we are not able to achieve the kind of growth what we are expecting. So that's why government of India found that there is no effective synchronization among the various departments and ministries which are responsible for what, which are responsible for overall infrastructure development. So since last 2 years, government is working to make it integrated kind of infrastructure development, what we have seen in China and especially in Singapore. So what you are able to see today, PM's vision of PM Gati Shakti, right? PM Gati Shakti, it is a kind of replica of Singapore model, right? It's a kind of replica of Singapore model. If you will see the Singapore model, you will find the same kind of a strategy they have opted almost 30 years back, right? So they have opted this thing 30, even 35 years back, and that's why they have very good infrastructure development, right? So same thing in Hindi we say that ki de raha hai durust hai, right? So government is pushing this Gati Shakti, right? So Gati Shakti, and whenever we want to start something, we want to achieve something, so we have to set the goal. We have to set the goal, and infrastructure development take time to be completed, right? It's not a like a quick fix kind of the thing, it takes some time. So that's why we have targeted 2047, right? 2047 we will get the sufficient amount of time, right? And we have taken a kind of integrated approach. So Amrit Kal is going to start from 75th year to 100 year, right? So this is called as Amrit Kal. So in this Amrit Kal, what we will do, we will push our infrastructure, and during this phase, what we will do, we are going to have an integrated way of doing an infrastructure, right? Integrated way of doing the infrastructure. That is why PM Gati Shakti is here, right? So also help domestic or local industry and companies. Yes, obviously, whenever you will develop the infrastructure, then definitely your local industry, local manufacturing is going to be increased. Now, this is the philosophical part, but actually, when we'll talk in the economic term, infrastructure push work as a multiplier. It work as a multiplier and accelerator, right? So multiplier and accelerator. So multiplier and accelerator, not here we are talking about mathematics, here not we are talking about the physics acceleration, or we are not talking about the mechanics, we are talking about economics. So in economics there are two phenomena, one is multiplier and another is accelerator, and infrastructure is best way to push multiplier effect and accelerator effect in the economy. And this is why government, not only means right now Indian government, in past all the major economic power like Europe, US, China, Japan, all they push infrastructure because infrastructure have the best bet for having a multiplier effect in the economy and accelerator effect in the economy. What is multiplier effect and what is accelerator effect? Just give you a brief example. Multiplier effect means what? If government is saying that we are going to spend 70,000 crores, we are going to spend 70,000 crore on national highways for financial year 2023, right? 22-23, we are going to spend 70,000 crores. So that 70,000 crore is going to spend on highway building. So when the government is going to give this money will go to whom? This money will go to the highway building companies. This money will go to highway building companies, and these highway building companies are going to get this money from the government in order to push the infrastructure. But because these highway companies are going to hire laborers, machines, they are going to purchase a lot of machines, they are going to hire a lot of laborers, so they will get the salary. And when they will get the salary, they will spend some money and they will save some money. Generally, what we consider is 65 to 35 ratio. Right? 65 to 35 ratio means it is your consumption and it is your savings. So when this income will be transferred, so from here this consumption and savings will be pushed. So this is what we call as a multiplier. You are going to push one area and it is automatically trigger other area in terms of consumption and savings. What we call this as a multiplier effect. Multiplier effect is clear. What is multiplier? You will push one area and it is going to push all other areas of the economy. In simple terms, we call it as a multiplier effect. Right? Is it clear? Multiplier effect. If it is clear, then I will explain you the accelerator effect. Then I will come to this year's budget's key part. What is accelerator effect? Accelerator effect, suppose that there is a car manufacturing company who have one unit in India, right? Who have one unit in India and they are producing 100 units. Because of multiplier effect, demand increased and they have went for another 10 unit. So they have increased their production from 100 to 110, right? Then they increase their production 120. Maximum capacity is 130, right? So 130. 130, they reach to 130. Because of this multiplier effect, government is pushing one sector and every sector is getting what? Every sector is getting increased demand, right? Now they have reached 130. Market demand is rising. Market demand is still rising. But what they feel that in order to cater this another requirement, means another 10 unit requirement, means if we want to increase production from 130 to 140, our plant's capacity is how much? Our plant's capacity is to produce 130 unit and we already reached to our maximum production, right? Now demand is increased. Now we have to produce 140, but to increase another 10 unit, we need an additional unit. We need an additional unit in order to increase our production from 130 to 140. But there is a huge cost going to be involved to increase production by 10 unit. So company will establish second unit only when company is going to expect in next few years, like next 5 to 6 years, the demand is going to be like 260. Right now demand is how much? 140, but within the 5 to 6 years, the demand is going to be like 260, means demand is going to be doubled. What demand we have today, it is going to be doubled. So then in that case, this unit establishment is going to be worthful for us and profitable for us. Otherwise, it is not going to be profitable. If suppose that demand is going to be around 180 only in next 5 to 6 years, right? If demand is going to be only 180 in next 5 to 6 years, then definitely it is not going to be worth for us to have an additional unit, right? So company has calculated and finally decided that okay, we are going to add our production through establishing of one more unit, right? So this is known as accelerator effect. This is known as accelerator effect. So there is a small difference between multiplier effect and accelerator effect. Multiplier effect is going to what? Multiplier effect is going to push your demand, right? Push your production, employment, income, right? But accelerator effect is going to show that when more number of units is going to be increased in your economy, when you are going to see that yes, companies extending their plant in India. A steel company has announced that we are going to we are going to expand our production unit in India. Car companies saying that we are going to expand our production capacity in India. Then it is showing what? Then it is showing accelerator effect. If it is saying that we are going to increase our production from 100 unit to 110 unit, they are going to increase their production. It is a multiplier effect. But when they are going to say that in order to increase our production, we are going to establish one more unit, right? Then it is showing an accelerator effect in the economy, right? So the Gati Shakti or whatever the infrastructure push in India is, first to generate what? First to generate multiplier effect, and once the multiplier effect will be in run, then automatically accelerator effect will be generated. So initially you will grow slow, but later on in next 10 years you are going to be very fast. A best example, for example, telecommunication sector in India. Telecommunication sector in India, I still remember that in my colony, in my hometown, in my colony, there was only one landline phone, right? And we have to behave in a good manner to that family because they have this phone, and in case of any emergency they have to come to our house to inform you have a phone call from there, right? So I have seen that phase where one colony or one society have one landline phone, right? And today in one home people have 3 4 mobile phones, 3 members, 4 mobile phones, right? Even when this SIM card services was started by BSNL, Bharat Bhai Sahab nahi lagega, sorry, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. Okay, so this Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited has started their services in India, right? So they have started their services, and to get the SIM card of BSNL, I stayed in a queue for 9 hours. 9 hours I stayed in a queue to get the mobile phone SIM card, right? So I belong to that era, so I have seen that. And see today what a phenomenal growth of this telecommunication sector in India. One of the biggest market, right? One of the biggest market, no company can ignore that thing. Fine. So this shows what? Initially there is a push, right? And then it started creating an accelerator effect in India. So the telecommunication sector boom, what you call the boom of a particular sector, that is actually a kind of boom in terms of accelerator effect. Okay. So I hope accelerator effect and multiplier effect is clear. So this is very important to have a proper understanding. And when you have a proper understanding, have some facts and figures in your mind, then you are able to write an effective answer. Everybody is curious about how to write an effective answer. I'm keep saying that thing. Focus on the concepts which I am telling you. Later on, it is going to be cakewalk. Right? Later on, it is going to be cakewalk. But if you do not have an understanding of the things, right? Then see, for example, every platform, just whatever the online platform learning are available, right? Everyone is making the video on Gati Shakti, blah blah blah, and what. Just go and search and tell me who has explained this Gati Shakti with the reason. Why Gati Shakti? Gati Shakti, okay, whatever the explanation has given by the government, that's fine. I'm talking in terms of economic reasons. What economic theory said that? In economics, it is a reason, a produce multiplier and accelerator effect. That's why we will push for this infrastructure spending. This is the main reason, right? So once you will know the main cause, the bedrock cause, why a particular government want to go for this infrastructure push or particular push of the sector, right? Then it is going to be a little bit easier for you to write an answer. Even while writing an answer, suppose that they are going to ask a short note on Gati Shakti, PM Gati Shakti. So rather than starting कि last year on Independence Day speech, Prime Minister has announced that कि we are going to start the Gati Shakti. You can start with this fact, na? You can start with this fact which I have given you. Just I told you कि there was a some examples in the past. So following those examples and growth success stories, Government of India also have announced that. So that is going to create a difference. That is going to create a difference because PM has announced Gati Shakti on Independence Day speech that is going to be written by everyone. But only there are the few people who are going to mention this thing. And it is not so rare. You can find this thing, the same thing in the Niti Ayog's website also. Why PM Gati Shakti? Right? They have mentioned there. Right? Amitabh Kant wrote a kind of small article. In that article, he has mentioned that thing. Right. So I have given you the crux rather than going to read that thing. I have given you the crux. Okay, let's see some questions. Even seven childhood, only one house have. Yes. Prachi, can we say that in new economic policy we saw the accelerator effect? Accelerator effect we have seen in the very limited terms. In the very limited terms, what we have expected, we have not get that kind of the accelerator effect. Multiplier effect, we have seen that. We have seen the accelerator effect, but it is not as per expectation because government of India always have a policy to go slow rather than if you will see the difference between these countries they went in the wholesale manner, big bang kind of the things. Government of India always believe in the gradual manner rather than going for wholesale, right? So this is why the kind of accelerator effect is not very prominent, though it was there, but it was not very prominent. To make it more effective, this initiative is being taken. Mr. Aaron, I cannot do anything in that. If you are a paid subscriber, kindly contact the admin team through the phone call or email or whatever the number is available. They will definitely assist you. Or uh, I will request Ashok ji. He will reply you. Okay, I will request Ashok ji. He will reply you. Now, so now let's start here. Mm, this one. Sorry. So what is Amrit Kal? Everybody, I hope, have a clarity what is Amrit Kal right now. If anyone do not have a clarity, kindly get the clarity about Amrit Kal. Possibility of question is almost 99%. There will be a question. 75th year to 100th year. Right. This is your Amrit Kal. What is on focus? Focus is on growth and inclusive welfare. Inclusive means welfare for all, not just for Ambani and Adani, but welfare for all. Means whatever the income is being generated, its distribution should be effectively available there, right? Promoting the technology enable the development, energy transition, and climate change. Climate change part I will take here. I am going to see all of you have this PDF. 99.99% people have the PDF. I am going to focus here some key terms which are important from the exam point of view and understanding point of view. For example, virtuous cycle. Virtuous cycle. What is virtuous cycle? In simplest term, the virtuous cycle is what you consider yourself as a kid and you went to your grandparents' home or nani ke ghar, and from there you are about to return. So all members of your mother's family is there, and when you will start moving, everybody is going to give you some money in your pocket, right? So where in which direction you are moving, from every direction you are getting some pocket, means money in your pocket. So you are happy because you know that wherever you are going to move you are going to get some money. So similarly in economy, when we say the virtuous cycle, so you are in the kind of mode or a phase of economy where income, employment, consumption, savings, all these things are increasing. All these things are increasing. So when we say the virtuous cycle, we want to just want to explain that, or we want to elaborate in terms of income, employment, consumption, savings, right? All these things are going to increase. Then economy is in virtuous cycle, right? And similarly, there is a vicious cycle also. There is a vicious cycle also. For example, exams are over in your school and you got your report card and you came back to your home with your report card. So you went to your father's room, then you went to your mother room. Everyone is saying that this is the report card. So that day is what? That kind of the day is your vicious cycle. Wherever you go, everybody is going to scold on you. Ki what happening? Why you are not studying? If nobody is going to ask you why this was so low marks. Everybody is going to blame you. So similarly, what happened when the economy is going to enter in the kind of cycle where income, employment, production, consumption, savings, all these things are going to decrease, then is a vicious cycle. So there is a business cycle in the economy, and in the business cycle, there is a boom and recession. So boom time is being shown as a virtuous cycle, and recession time is shown as vicious cycle of the economy. So virtuous cycle and vicious cycle. Is it clear? What is the virtuous cycle of the economy? If they are going to make some questions on the virtuous cycle of the economy, are you able to answer? Crowded in by public capital investments. Crowded in by public capital investment. Can anyone give me an example of crowded in by public capital investment? Any example? Can you give me an example in this regard? How government will go for crowding in? How government is going for crowding in? Anyone want to answer? Crowded in by public capital investment. Come on, कोई तो बोलो आंसर. Anyone? National monetization pipeline, right? What you are going to do, you are going to offer the public assets on lease, right? Public assets on lease, so that lot of people are going to take those assets and use those assets to create further income. Number one, this is NMP. Another is government has recently started allowed public to invest. Public can directly purchase GSES, government securities, from RBI. So public directly can give loan to government by purchasing their government securities. So these are the ways how you are going to crowd in by public capital investments. Okay. Now they have mentioned that four priorities. One is PM Gati Shakti, another is inclusive development. Inclusive development means what? Development should reach to the poorest people of country. Then we will call it as a inclusive development. It is more about what? Synchronization of various ministries who are responsible for infrastructure development. For that, there is a Gati Shakti. Third is financing and investments. For financing and investments, what you are going to do, like national monetization pipeline kind of the schemes you are doing, right? Now, the productivity enhancement and investments. Sun rising opportunities. What is sun rising opportunities? What is sun rising opportunities? Anyone who's eager to explain what is sun rising opportunities? Startups. Okay. Anyone else? Everyone want to say startup. So all startup come under the category of sunrise opportunities. No, every startup will not come under the category of sunrise opportunities. There, there are some sector which are not very prominent right now. They are not very prominent right now, but they have lot of potential to be to become a big sector in a future. So these sectors are known as sunrising sector, or we can focus those sectors in terms of sunrising opportunities. For example, hydrogen fuel cell technology, right? So any company who is investing the hydrogen fuel cell kind of the thing, right? Genome sequencing, right? DNA vaccine, DNA based vaccine, RNA based vaccines. So these are the kind of the sector where there is a lot of opportunity, right? Lot of opportunity are there. These sectors are not developed at yet, but these sectors have a lot of tremendous potential to be developed. But for their development, some kind of funding is requirement, right? You have seen that Shark Tank, right? So Shark Tank kind of the thing is required, but these Shark Tank kind of the thing is not required from these sharks. These are being required from the government. So when the government is going to do the same thing, so government is not want the profit from themselves, right? Government don't want the profit. Government don't want the profit. Government want कि you should develop the sector so that income can be multiplied in our country. Income, employment, opportunity can be generated. Very good, Revati. Space sector. Very nice. So space sector is a kind of sunrising sector. Pharma sector, right? So new pharma sectors where kind of DNA based vaccine, RNA based vaccine sector. So these sectors come under the category of what? These sectors come under the category of sunrising sector. Space is one of the best example. E-vehicles, yes. Saurav, you cannot say the high potential sector. You must have to mention high potential sector, but they still not have a proper establishment at present. Okay, this thing is very required to define the sun rising. Otherwise, they are already rised. There are some sector, there is a lot of opportunity. For example, blockchain mining. So blockchain mining is not a sun rising sector. It is already rised. People know that. The lot of people are ready to put their money. कि लो भाई मेरे से ले लो. Take money from me. Right. So everybody is ready. There are some sectors where people still hesitate to put their money. Right. So in those sectors, we need some kind of government. Yes, shifting from shifting from non-renewable sources to renewable sources. So shifting from non-renewable sources to renewable sources is an example of energy transition. See how Ambani is investing in the hydrogen economy, right? How he has started investing billions of the dollars in the hydrogen economy. So he is looking at the future. What means in the future we have to transit from that source of energy to other source of energy. So this is energy transition, right? Climate action, lot of things. Even there is a social and economic kind of the thing. I will discuss it later. When this part will come, means it will come again and again. Climate action, recovery of the economy, recovery of the economy to reflect the country's resilience. These kind of these data are not very important. You need not to worry about those data and these diagrams. PM Gati Shakti. So in Gati Shakti, road, railways, airport, port, mass transportation, waterways, logistic infrastructure. Can anybody tell me which state of India do have largest inland waterway? Yes, drone sector is also very nice. Drone technology is also a kind of sunrising sector for India specifically. So which state of India have largest inland waterway? I didn't ask for the longest. I asked for largest. Largest, not longest. Longest is, yes, of course, UP, but largest is Kerala, very right. Kerala have the largest inland waterway, right? So logistic infrastructure. What is logistic infrastructure? Means I hope you have this basic understanding of logistic infrastructure means goods train. For example, DFC. dedicated freight corridor, right? So dedicated freight corridor, Sagarmala project, Bharatmala project. So Sagarmala, Bharatmala, dedicated freight corridors. These are focused on logistic infrastructure, right? And since last 6 to 8 months after the second wave of COVID, there is a lot of issue India has faced in terms of logistic infrastructure. So a lot of articles is being written, and still people are writing कि India still lack in very much in terms of logistic infrastructure. You want to push semiconductor industry in India, right? You want push semiconductor industry in India, but the point is you made a very good home, but if you have not made a toilet in your home, right, bathroom and toilet is not available there, then there is no use of that home. Fine. So similarly, you whatever the industry you want to push in your country, that's fine, but at least there should be the proper inflow and outflow of what inflow of raw material, and then proper outflow of what finished goods. So this is why China is on top, because their facility in the logistic infrastructure is extremely well. They're extremely well in that area, right? So you must have to focus on this in logistic infrastructure also. Whenever there is a question, and that question itself questioning India's infrastructure, whenever there is a question and that question is questioning about India's infrastructure, so this is kind of what? This is the kind of a weapon you can use ki India have poor logistic infrastructure and we have to work on it. Road and highway are improving, but still the road and highway is basically for transportation of public. There is a dedicated way to transportate goods and services, right? There is a proper way to transportate goods and services. So when we say the logistics infrastructure, our focus should be on what? Our focus should be on proper smooth movement of goods and services, and India still have to work a lot in the improvement of this thing. An example is DFC, Sagarmala, Bharatmala kind of the project. National master plan, right? So formulation of national master plan for expressway completing 25,000 kilometer national highway in 2022-2023. Green shipping corridors, very good. So in highway, India is doing fairly well. In last few years, India is doing fairly well, and a lot of good infrastructure is already available. Now the focus area should be on uh, this part, logistic infrastructure. However, this infrastructure master plan for expressways completing 25,000 kilometers, that is also going on, so that good services and public both can move with the help of expressways. By the way, what is the difference between highway and expressway? What is the difference between highway and expressway, especially in the Indian context? Any answer? Difference between expressway and highway? Expressways generally have minimum 6 lanes, and their speed is normally allowed from 100 to 120. Up to 120 speed is being allowed. Depend upon the state, depend upon the situation. So these are the basically expressways, right? 6 lane is minimum required. Expressway got from outer area of the city, whereas the highway does through the cities as well. Jyoti, generally highways are also, I mean, highways are being made in the way so that they cannot go from the city. They go outside the city. So this is not a kind of proper explanation, because generally highway and expressway are being made. They should not be go and indulge in the city traffic. And which state have a maximum number of expressways in India? Which state have maximum number of expressways in India? Anyone can tell me highest number of expressways? And one more question: first expressway of India. First expressway of India and state having the highest expressways. Yes, UP. Three expressways: uh, Yamuna Expressway, Ganga Expressway, Purvanchal Expressway. And first expressway of India. First expressway of India. Yes. And Mumbai Pune Expressway was also the first expressway to use the drone to monitor the traffic. Right. First expressway to monitor the traffic. They have started using the drones. Okay. Now, one interesting thing is, which is upcoming, is integration of postal and railway network facilitating parcel movement. And another is one station, one product. One station, one product. So we can expect that some kind of the big scheme can be launched by the government, especially for the private sector. One station, one product, and railway network facilitating the parcel movement. Right. So they want to integrate postal and railway network. Postal network having the in India, the deepest reach is with the postal, right? So Dak Seva, right? So Dak Seva, and through the railway network, Indian government want to improve the movement of parcels, right? Vande Bharat trains, all of you know that the Vande Bharat train. What is Kavach? What is Kavach? Anything related to railway kind of anti-collision device or anti-collision system? This is Kavach. Okay, the anti-collision system is Kavach, right? And Vande Bharat trains are the new generation trains having better capacity and effective fuel management, right? So the best thing with them is the effective fuel management and better comfortable journey for the people of India. Vande Bharat trains. Actually, I just want to share you one thing. If you agree with me or disagree with me, I need your views and opinion. Every year when the budget and economic survey will come, right? Student fraternity and some teacher fraternity get ekdam pumped up, right? I will explain, I will explain, I will explain, I will explain, I will explain. Actually, these budget and economic surveys are being presented not for the students who are preparing for the UPSC exam or RBI Grade B exam or SEBI exam or whatever exam you are preparing. That is not presented for you. It is presented for dedicated purpose of Indian economy, right? I do agree lot of facts and data is being asked in your exam. I do agree with that, right? And that's why it's make very important thing for your exam. I agree with that thing. But you can understand these things only when you have studied infrastructure. If you have not studied infrastructure, if you have not studied particular part, right, then you are just understanding what, then you are just trying to mug up the data, right? For example, economic survey and budget. The one way is what ki I will discuss each and everything in your exam, because more or less they are going to focus on the factual part only, more or less factual part, and some schemes parts they are going to focus. And in descriptive, they're also their question will be simple, not complicated. Just giving a reference, in the UPSC exam they'll ask very complicated questions also. So student expect that ki I will explain each and everything. Are mister, you do not know ki what is the basic concept. Until unless you don't know the basic concept, it is not possible for you to hold it. I will give you, but you are not able to hold it till the exam, right? So whosoever is doing on its own this budget and economic survey and they are lacking in the basic understanding, I will request them side by side read that basic part also. Otherwise it is not going to help you. It is going to put you some loss, because in examination hall you are going to get confused, right? So my strategy is going to be what, the rest of the part which I am going to discuss. In fact, I have created few data also. I'm compiling those data. Just give me a second. I'll share with you. Uh, are you able to see this data? Are you able to see this data? So, for example, here what is written here? It is written here, budget budget 2023 announced an extension of ECLGS scheme by another year, March 31st, 2023. So side by side, you must know what is the ECGLS scheme. Otherwise, it is not going to help you. So what I'm doing, I'm compiling all these data. I think in 2-3 days it is going to be completed, and I'll share with you. So the highlighted part you have to focus only. And meanwhile, what I'm also doing is I'm discussing the data. I'm discussing that budget document, but apart from the budget document, I will provide you this thing so that you can have both the understanding part and the data which you have to keep in your mind. Okay. So, So tomorrow, what I will do? Tomorrow, I will first start with this. Where is the page? Where is the page? So tomorrow I will do what? I will start this agriculture and food processing. So before going what government has announced this year in this budget, I will first explain you few important characteristics of India's agriculture sector, and then I will let you know these areas. Okay? So tomorrow I will start this agriculture part. Okay? So for today I'm going to wind up the session. Tomorrow we will start with the agriculture and food processing of the budgeting part. Fine. So thank you for today. We'll start tomorrow.